Great morning, everyone. Happy new day. This is Christine L. Bowen, and you are tuned into CLB Live from Listen Vision Studios in Washington, D.C., better known as WLVS Radio. Radio you can watch, honey. Today, I am super excited. I'm always excited, but today I'm super excited because we are talking about one of my absolute favorite topics. You can see I'm still trying to get it together here. It's all good. It's a casual show. This is one of my favorite topics, creativity. And today's theme is creativity rules with two of my dearest divine connections. But before we get to that, I want to make sure that I welcome you today. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you caught the pre-show convo on Facebook, thank you for tuning in there as well. As you can tell, I was a little bit nervous. That's right. Still get nervous, folks. It's a part of it. I still get the butterflies. I still get tongue-tied. And when it comes to my brand message, I'm still getting used to that. And so I had to create 2 live feeds today. But we're going to have so much fun because my guests are going to infuse a lot of fun and laughter into this show. So for you to participate, we have a couple of things happening here. First, I want to make sure you have your cup of whatever. This is my cup of Good Mood tea. Shout out to Bigelow Tea. We're connected on Instagram, and they know that this is my favorite tea brand, and I love the Good Mood tea. Now, tell you what, I would have Happy Mood tea if I was at home broadcasting because this would be spiked honey. There is no judgment. So if you want to spike your tea and turn it into a hot toddy, please do so for me. All right? And if you're on the other side of the globe, well, shoot, it's 5 o'clock or later, so you can have something stronger. Whatever it is, grab your cup. Make sure you have some kind of colored writing utensil. I have my Crayolas here. That's right, the 64-pack with the sharpener on the back. And you could have your colored pencils, whatever it is, grab them. It could be your markers, because we're going to use those to write with today. And for you to participate in the conversation online, we have an online viewer. Yay! We have someone watching our behind the scenes Facebook live feed. Hey, don't know who you are, but thank you for tuning in. So you can jump on over to clblive.tv to participate in this conversation because as I said in the pre-show convo, engagement is where the magic happens. Yes, we have to be in solitude to receive all of our inspiration, but it's when we come together that the magic happens. So that's what these conversations are all about. So hop on over to clblive.tv, click on the event, and you can share your comments there. If we miss them during the show, we will be sure to get to them afterwards, but I'll make a note to check for your comments. You can also watch the Facebook Live. I got to give them another view so they can see what's happening in the studio. There's Mike and Corey. Hey! Yeah, so we are going to have some fun today. If you're on Twitter, you can use the hashtag CLB Live, okay? And of course, hashtag CLB, not CLB Live, creativity rules. All right. And also on Instagram, if you're feeling creative, you can hop on over to Instagram and use it there. So without further ado, we're going to talk about creativity rules with 2 of my favorite people. And the notable quotable I absolutely love. It says, "We sip and never chug because booze is our muse and creativity cannot be rushed, but it can be rough around the edges." And that is a notable quotable by none other than Phil and Kate Boyer. And, you know, creativity is not just in some of us, it's in all of us. With so many people speaking about this topic, our understanding of it, of this miraculous gift, can easily be misconstrued. So really, I believe there's only one rule for creativity. There are no rules, and that's why creativity rules. It cannot be defined. It can only be expressed as only you or I or them, whomever, as only we can express it. And I'm so honored today to be joined by 2 of my nearest and dearest divine connections and 2 of my most favorite creative muses, Phil and Kate Boyer, to sip on our cups of whatever, engage in some conversation about this very important, life-changing topic, And I'm also celebrating and highlighting their unique, full, and unapologetic expression of their creativity. Just to give you a little idea of who they are, because they're going to come on and introduce themselves directly to you. When she's not sipping on aquavit and embracing Viking tendencies, Kate Boyer writes and writes and writes. Screenplays, hell yeah. Books, damn straight. TV shows, you betcha. And Phil, fueled by espresso strength coffee, hello, heavy metal, and 100 proof whiskey, these are my kind of people, is the evil mastermind who creates the shows, books, and films you've never heard of but will someday soon. Together, they are the creative geniuses behind Booze Hound Entertainment. Please help me welcome Phil and Kate Boyer. Woohoo! Oh my gosh, there they are. What's up, guys?
Morning.
Oh, yes, it is. It's great morning on our side of the world. How are you both doing? You look amazing.
We are trying,
Yes.
It's movie magic here.
Yes.
You're going for that soft, muted, fuzzy camera look, right?
Yes, exactly. It kind of takes off 10 years, they say, so.
Yeah, I need some of that over here because it is fierce. These lights and these cameras are fierce over here. Yeah.
Oh, no, you're beautiful. You always are.
Oh, thank you. I got to remember my Facebook Live viewers so they can see what's going on. There they are, guys. So tell me, I know you're not morning people, so first of all, welcome to CLB Live. I know you both have been supporting the show over the years. You've even been guests on some of our multi-person panel discussions, including the beginning of this season. But this is our first opportunity to have the entire time to just us three. Publicly, anyway. Publicly, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So welcome. So we're going to dive into this conversation because, as you both know, because you both have hosted shows, time goes so freaking fast.
Mm-hmm.
And you both know I have a passion for creativity, the topic, and I know you both do as well. And I wanted to invite you to be on this show today to help me kick off this discussion and look at creativity through the lens of Booze Hound, which I know we may need shades for that. So guys, if you have your sunshades, you may need to put some shades on because these guys are like megawatt when it comes to creativity. So I really want to celebrate the both of you. And I love your backdrop, by the way.
Thank you. Yeah, this is actually a set for one of the shows that we've been working on. That's going to be under one of our imprints that we just started. So
you see what I'm talking about, folks? You got to give me some of that. I see Sky Vodka and all of that carrying on back there. So I want to first start. I know, of course, who you both are, and I'm really still getting to know your story because I've discovered a few new tidbits this week. But let's introduce you both to the audience with your backstory. Where are you coming from, and how are you getting to this point now where you are just like megawatt creators?
Well, the story really started a long time ago. I wasn't really thinking about being creative or being in that. I started in the fire service at the ripe old age of 14, and that was what I was going to do. And that's what I did for 10 years. And in the middle of that, I got the opportunity to be a extra and technical consultant for a movie, made-for-TV movie, and a couple of primetime shows, which was a lot of fun. And so that was kind of my entry into the creative thing. But even at that time, I really didn't give a second thought to that.
Interesting.
Yeah. Mine, you know what? Mine's kind of boring because I really didn't. I felt like I was the only high schooler and even person in college and stuff that didn't know what she wanted to do with her life. And that's very frustrating. And it kind of evolved very slowly. And to a certain extent, I think I even poo-pooed it away. Because it's like, oh, well, that's not a real job, or that's not, what are you going to do? And
right.
And if you're going to write, a book, well then, you had to get onto a major publisher, and how do you do that? And so it was something that I just kind of kept shoving to the back. And in the meantime, I was still, I started to write and started to enter even different writing contests and things like that. And then life kind of, came around, and we had a family, and it wasn't in the forefront as much and as often as I wish it would have been now, looking back. But it finally, I think, came to a head for both of us, where we're like, why are we not doing this? This is what we love to do. It's what we always talk about. I mean, you should really, like, if you were here with us 24 hours a day, that this is like all we talk about.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's hard to think of, well, is there something different we should talk about?
No, this is why you're on the show today. Because I first of all, thank you for sharing your backstory. We're going to get to that. But this is why I admire you both so much, because you are not only in business together, you are also an intimate married couple. You're best friends, and you fuel each other. And that, to me, is where the magic is, why the magic is happening the way it is for the both of you. I love that you accept each other as individuals and respect each other's creative journey. I think that's amazing. Woo, we have so much to share today. So let me ask you, so Kate, you always had the writing urge, and you've always been writing. You knew that was your passion, but you kind of, like you said, put it on the back burner. Phil, you were just firefighter. You really didn't know that was your path. But you dipped into the production side of things with television, right?
Yeah, there was 2 shows back in the 80s, Perfect Strangers and Family Man. And I was a technical consultant on that and extra, which was a lot of fun.
I loved Perfect Strangers.
Yeah, that was a fun time. And it all started on a movie called After the Shock. It was about the earthquake in San Francisco in '89. And so that's where it kind of started. I played, again, a consultant, a Good Samaritan, and a firefighter on that. And then that led to a couple other things. And then it just kind of fell off, and I didn't pursue it or anything. I kind of wish I had now. Who knows? I could have been
Yeah, the next Brad Pitt, you know?
Who knows?
Right? With that hair,
maybe
especially.
I should bring him up right now.
And have you been together since the college days or before that?
We actually met in high school. So we've known each other for about 30 years.
That's
forever.
amazing.
But yeah, we started off, though, just as friends. It wasn't until after a year or so after high school that we started dating.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And who was pursuing whom?
Yeah, I was pursuing her.
I figured.
I mean, look at her.
Yeah, she's the hottie. She's the hottie out of the 2. No offense, Phil. You're kind of cute yourself. Okay. So before we go any further, what's in your cup? Please tell me one of your cups is spiked.
You know what? It's not. I'm sorry. I just went with my regular bulletproof coffee because I needed the MCT oil to get my brain jumped this morning. And but last night, we did have a few drinks.
You
so
did.
In your honor,
We did celebrate beforehand. I've got my non-alcoholic vodka right here.
Okay,
or some
perfect.
people call it water.
Perfect. Yeah, I did. I indulged a little bit last night too. So, yeah. Okay, so let's talk about where you are today, because you both had a turning point in my eyes. It, of course, coming from you, it's going to be different, but where I identified it is, Kate, you had this awakening that you shared with your book that I absolutely love, called How I Quit Email and Followed My Dreams. And Phil, we actually met before Kate and I met through Stephanie Sims, I think, right?
No, I think it was through Roy.
Was it Roy?
Yeah, it was Roy.
Roy has connected me with some great people. I think Stephanie was the one that brought you to the table to both Roy and I when we were doing that weekly Divine Connection show. And I was so excited to have a fika with you guys. You're going to hear what that is shortly. That I ran and bought your book off of Amazon, Social Media Strategies. I read it in one night. so that I would be like, okay, let me see what this guy's all about. And it was then that I realized that we had this alignment in the way that we think. But really, it was your book, Coloring Outside the Lines, that sung to my heart. So let's talk about your transition. When did you wake up and give yourself permission to just go full on with your creativity?
I don't know if there was one moment or one point. It was more of a transition, more of a road. Like for me, I kept going down this road. I kept going down here, but like, no, I got to be over here. I got to be doing this over here.
Right.
But I really kept wanting to go down this other path. And, we were doing stuff and we infused some things in there, more of a writing, more of a fiction type of element into what we were doing with shows like The Weekly Howl and everything. And finally, we're just like, you know what? Let's just go ahead and embrace this. And that's when we did The Lazy Bartender and went all in on the creativity on that and didn't worry about any kind of business aspect, consulting aspect or anything like that. We just went and had some fun and got plastered and
did happy hour.
Yes.
Yeah. And Kate, how about you? When did you give yourself permission to be a writer?
It was actually when one morning I just sat down and thought, okay, why am I not writing full time? I mean, stories come into my head constantly and ideas do, and why am I fighting this? And which is really hard for me. I actually sat down in a quiet room, it was like 6 a.m, and I just thought about it. And I thought, I keep putting obstacles in the way for myself, giving myself excuses. And email was kind of the biggest excuse, because that way in the morning, I'd get up, go through all my emails. And, I had all these emails from every which way. And I was using that as my excuse not to write. And morning for me is really my creative time. And so I thought, you know what? I just need to write this out. Before anything, I need to see this for myself in writing and see what I've been doing. And I promised myself that I was going to write this book. And that morning, the book title came to me. And I wrote it down, How I Quit Email and Followed My Dreams. And I just thought, once I get done with this book, it's just going to lead me on that path where I'm just going to keep going. And my mantra now is kind of like, keep moving like a shark, never stop. And even if it's just a little bit every day, even if I was to write one paragraph or come up with one idea or whatever, it's just keep moving. Don't stop.
Yeah. Great advice. That is so true. Yeah. Cause I'm utilizing your story, and I'm honored really to have you both on the show. You don't know how geeked I am right now. I'm a little starstruck. Yeah, I know you guys on a regular level, but I really do admire your unapologetic style. So I'm utilizing your stories to help paint this picture for people who may be having those same feelings, because I believe we all have that desire to create. I forget the person who said it, but the quote says, the deepest yearning of the human soul is to create. I think I'm paraphrasing it. But we, for whatever reasons, I think, Kate, you said it best, is we say, oh, that can't really be a vocation. That's not something we can make money off of. And we go off of status quo thinking, which is what we're going to talk about right now. Because, Phil, I know this is something you talk about a lot. I chose the theme. For those of you who are watching, you're watching us on CLB Live with Phil and Kate Boyer of Booze Hound Entertainment. In my eyes, they are uber co-creators. I think they are fabulous because they're unapologetic about expressing themselves creatively. However, they had to get to this point, as we just heard. It wasn't just overnight. They had to get to this point, and I think it's beautiful how they're expressing their creativity. So I just had to, I forget I'm on a show sometimes, guys. I do. So let's talk about status quo thinking, because when I started planning this show, as Phil and Kate know, it was called something boring. channeling creativity, channeling creativity. And I was like, I am so not feeling that title. And it came to me, inspiration, creativity rules. And I thought, oh my God, that's perfect, because the three of us, I know we are quintessential rule breakers, especially you, Phil. You had a show called Rule Breaking Ideas. You guys, if you missed the Google Plus wave, it was so much fun back then, right? That's how I met you all. God, we had so much fun. So let's talk about status quo thinking when it comes to expressing ourselves creatively, what it is and what it isn't. From your eyes, Phil, let's start with you.
You know, if you think back when you were a kid, you didn't really care about the rules. You went and, you had tea with all your stuffed animals, and you had all sorts of conversations about who knows what. You went down the street and you screamed like a madman. For me, I used to turn my room into a big city metropolis with Hot Wheels and Legos and all sorts of stuff. Yeah. Right? And that's not unique. Kids do that. They sit and they create. We draw. We do all these things, right? And even because it's the month of Halloween, we even freak ourselves out as kids. We think there's monsters in the closet or under the bed, and right. Sometimes there are. But we don't allow ourselves to think about the rules when we're kids. We just go and we do. And as adults, society rips that from us, and we start playing by rules, and we start doing these things. And that creativity slowly gets sucked out of us. And then we're like, okay, well, we have to do X, Y, and Z and forget all that stuff. And we start saying, well, I'm just not creative. I'm just not, but we really are. We're all born that way. It begins there. Hello. And we just let we just let it get sucked from us.
Well, it's also, I really believe it's a muscle. And just like any other muscle, if you don't use it, then it just goes, flabby, and it doesn't know what to do. And, but, we actually kind of came up with something that we do all the time. And last week I was like, you know what, that's actually kind of like a creative exercise. And we, like I said before, we talk about this stuff all the time. And last week we were out at our favorite beer place, and we were sitting there on the patio, and I was like, you know what, Phil? What 3 horror movies would you mash up and make a new movie out of? So instead of, the whole reboot thing that Hollywood's doing, let's take 3, because horror is kind of like one of our big favorite genres. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And like, what would you use? And so, he sat there and thought about it. And we ended up coming up with a whole new movie combining Children of the Corn and I think like The Omen and Halloween, and we came up with a whole new movie, even with a cast. Yeah. Like, okay, who would we, put in this role? And, what is the story? And afterwards, I'm like, wow, that was kind of like a creative exercise.
Yeah.
And it's just a fun thing to do that you could do out of anything, out of any idea. It's like, hey, what would you do with this song? What would be a fun lyric to throw in there?
Yeah.
And it's something that we can do on our own. It's something, you can walk into a place, a restaurant, and be like, hey, if I was going to redo this place, how would I redo it? Or with somebody else as a fun game around a dinner party.
Yeah.
And that gets your juices flowing. And the more you do that, it just becomes second nature.
Yeah, it does.
You mentioned a couple of things. Phil, you said we're all born this way, and I absolutely agree. Sounds like a Lady Gaga song. And Kate, it's a muscle, and if we don't use it, it gets soft and flabby. Very true, because that creative side of us can go dormant, more not even dormant per se, but we're acting by default rather than by intention. And we're creating a reality that we really don't want based on what other people are saying we should look like or think and do and act like. Phil, you mentioned this in your story about going down the road of business, trying to be a business mentor, which I think you're still one of my favorite entrepreneurial mentors. You are. Your social media strategies book still applies today because you speak on things. I'm not going to tell you all what's in the book. You need to go to Amazon. It's only 99 cents on Kindle. But the book really has some timeless principles. You had your rule breaking ideas show. You did some collabos with Ken Manesi, who's going to be on the show in 2 weeks.
Oh, nice.
Cool.
Yeah, he's so good at what he does. So I'm losing my train of thought, so let me stay with this. So let's talk about breaking the rules and status quo thinking, because I think that's where it begins, is giving ourselves permission to break out of status quo. So Phil, can you address that a little bit?
Yeah, you just need to throw the rules away. You just need to like for us, to give you an example, every idea that we have, we write down every single, whether we think it's good or bad at the time, because you can get caught up into, you can talk yourself out of certain things because of status quo. Think, oh no, that's not good enough. Oh no, we can't do that.
Yeah.
Or that has swearing in it, so we can't, just write it down and get it on paper or in whatever management software you use. Get it in there and then explore it. Allow yourself to get in there and explore that idea and see where it goes.
Yeah.
You may find that, this really sucks and we're not going to do this. We've actually started stuff. We've actually put stuff out there, and we recently canceled a couple things and are retooling a couple things because it wasn't working the way we had started to execute. But I do think, you have to execute. You have to allow yourself to get out there and execute. You hear all these posts like top 5 things that every successful person. No, you know what? You know what's missing out of every single one of those lists is execution. Nobody talks about execution. I don't care how many bottles of water you drink a day. It's
or
not
how many
gonna,
hours of sleep.
Yeah, none of that's going to do anything unless you get out there and execute.
Right.
And sometimes that execution means you make mistakes. Sometimes you have to execute to see what's wrong with that particular thing.
Yeah.
Right. So you can fix it. Like we were doing a cartoon called Worst Case Scenario, which we recently canceled. There's a thing that we started doing called If Adults, which was a show about if adults did kind of kid things, like if adults went trick or treating, for instance, and then you get bottles of booze and stuff.
Right, I remember watching that.
So we actually canceled that as a show, and we're going to retool that as something else because we figured that would work better that way. And to a certain extent, we followed some rules because we were trying to get stuff out every day. And that's what Worst Case Scenario was about. That was where a lot of some of the things we were doing. And we're realizing this doesn't get us to where we want. We want to do more of a long form content stuff. We want to write longer shows. Mm-hmm. We want to write more deeper shows, I guess you could say. And that's what Speakeasy is going to be, which is the set that we're on right now. So we canceled that stuff and we're moving towards where we want to go. So it is really a process, and you really have to let it's hard because you want to think, well, again, like Kate was saying earlier, you have to make money. So how can we do that? So let's do this. Let's get sponsored. And so it really is just about following that creativity that's in your heart and in your mind and just letting that roll. Just let it flow.
Let it loose.
Let it loose. Just
Amen,
let go. Let
honey.
it go.
And Phil, I have a bell for you. It's not a cowbell, but it's a bell, honey. And I had to ring it on what you said. We cannot be afraid to experiment. That's what I grabbed from what you're sharing. We cannot be concerned with what other people think is right or wrong for us, because most of the people that are judging, they're not taking action. They're just judging the people who are, and looking at the mistakes or missteps and saying, ha, 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 it didn't work. They don't have a life, basically. Or let's just be nice and say they haven't started their lives.
There you go.
Forgot we're on live TV. This is how we speak behind the scenes, folks. We keep it real, the three of us. But yeah, action is the piece that was missing for me all the years that I held myself back. And we have to be able to just put things out there and give it a try, because we won't know until we try it. And I love that you both do that. I love that you put yourselves out there. You're unapologetic. You don't give any explanations. One day, worst case scenario is there. One day it's not. And you're like, I'm like, oh, okay. I guess they stopped doing that, you know. But I enjoyed it while it was out. So I love that advice, Phil. What? The time is flying. I didn't even get to point out that I'm using my crayons to take notes today. I'm using Pacific Blue. I didn't choose it on purpose. I just grabbed a color that would be dark enough so I can read my notes. But I hope you all are watching. I hope you all are feeling inspired and listening to that little voice inside that's gnawing at you to be the person that you are. Because the point that I want to make before we dive into some of the projects that I absolutely love from these two and take our sponsor break, the point that I want to make is you don't want to copy what Phil and Kate are doing, because that may not be for you. Filmmaking may not be your thing. Booze may not be your thing. It's their thing. And they have taken their passions and they've created that into their vocation. And we all have something within us that we're passionate about, that we should be doing. Apparently mine is speaking into a camera. I didn't know that until I started doing it. And other people came into my life that said, you know what? You shine when you're in front of that camera. I'm like, I do? And it took me a while to get here. I still, to a certain degree, feel vulnerable doing this, but hey, you gotta do it. It's not gonna be perfect, right? Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna take a sponsor break. Time is slipping by, and I don't want it to end because I love you guys, but time is slipping by. So we're gonna take a sponsor break, and we'll be right back. Today's show is brought to you by Red Direction. Build business tenacity, create the mindset for a strong business through comprehensive strategy, business impact, and idea development. Head on over to reddirection.com and check out the most popular product, Unstuck Quick, and get more time to focus on money-making activities. Finding money for your biz can feel like jumping through hoops, honey. You want to hop on over to lookbeforeyouleap.biz and discover the most common mistakes owners make in this free report. This is brought to you by Financeability. Meet Lois. She just doesn't get it. She's on social media. She's sharing great content. She doesn't know where the clients are. Have you felt this way? Does social media have you puzzled? Unlearn what you have been taught. Learn proven intuitive techniques that will attract your ideal audience at TotalPresenceConsulting.com. Thank you so very much to my beautiful sponsors. Okay, so we are back and we are connecting and having a conversation about one of my favorite topics, creativity, honey, with Phil and Kate Boyer of Booze Hound Entertainment. They're two of my absolute most favorite people on the planet. They are uber creative in my eyes, and we are hearing and learning why, because they're giving themselves permission to be so. Hello, it's not just in some of us, it's in all of us. And our job is to discover what it is that we're passionate about and go after it. That's all, that's the bottom line. Right, guys?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
So we invested the first part of our conversation talking about your story and how you got to this point. My question that I have always wanted to ask you is, how does the booze come into this picture with Booze Hound Entertainment? I see you have your backdrop for your new show. I think I know the answer, but I would like to share it publicly with our audience. So how does booze come into this picture with you guys? What's that about?
The Booze Hound, the company, kind of started a few years back with a concept that Kate had. And so we were kind of working through what that might be and trying to figure out exactly what Booze Hound was going to be. And it didn't have a name at that point. It was Project X is what we called it. And we couldn't, we sat and we're like, okay, what about this? And nah, that doesn't really fit. And during this time, our kids are all older now and they've gone to college or moved out and they're doing their own thing. So we started embracing what we call our college years.
Yeah. I
And
love it.
so we started doing, vodka tasting and whiskey tasting and tasting learning about whiskey and all that stuff, much like people do wine. Whiskey's very similar to that, lots of different kinds of whiskeys. So we were kind of doing that. And so one night we were taking a break and we're watching old episodes of MASH. And this guy comes out stumbling and stuff. And one of the characters called, "Oh, look at that booze hound." And we both looked at each other and we're like, that's it. That's the name, Booze Hound, because we also have two hound dogs. And so that kind of blended, our love for the dogs, the hounds, and, our love that we just discovered with whiskey and vodka. And so brought it together and Booze Hound was born.
Love it. Love it's so original, and that's what creativity is all about, is having these original ideas that flow to us in the weirdest possible ways, right?
I've never heard the phrase booze hound before. I'm like, what's a booze hound? I don't even know what that is, but you look it up and it's like it's a real word.
Yeah.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Huh, I gotta look it up, see what it means. Don't tell me. Don't tell us. Okay. Don't tell us. We're gonna look up Booze Hound, guys. Let's see what it means. So I love that you formed this as an entity to represent your combined creative power. And some of the projects that have come from this merger have just been amazing and hilarious. I don't know if we have it queued up, but if we have it queued up, we can share a clip from one of my favorite series from the both of you called The Lazy Bartender, folks. Mike, did we get that queued up? Okay, well, if you can, I'll give you some time, but let me know if we can show a clip. But guys, if you go to, is it on YouTube or Vimeo?
Vimeo.
It's on Vimeo, and you're under what? We Are Booze Hound?
We Are Booze Hound. You can also go to weareboozehound.com. They're all up there as well.
Yes, that's the best place to go. Go to weareboozehound.com and you can click on watch and you'll see all of the episodes there. The one that I want to feature today is, since the holiday season is upon us, is the clip from Thanks Hollow Christ cocktail. I think it's hilarious. I was watching it last night and I still laughed out loud at the beginning. I'm not going to give it away, so hopefully we can share just that little snippet because I think it's so amazing. But I love to see that collaboration that you both are doing. So let's talk about the flip side, if you will. And this is for me personally, but I know a lot of people may experience this. How is it working together creatively as a couple? Because I know it's not all a bed of roses, or is it for the both of you?
It's not. But I think the thing is that we're very lucky, I think, to begin with, that we did find each other, and we each have our own strengths, and then we each have combined strengths. And I think that's what really works for us, because that's where we play off each other.
And we respect the strength that the other has.
Yes.
And we talk about that openly. And we say, hey, like I sometimes have a problem, like, oh, I want to do this and I want to do that, but I have to let it go. And I think, okay, no, Phil, you need to work. This is all you. This is your strength, and I'll work on my strength. But that's not to say I still don't have an input, or we still don't talk about things.
Yeah.
It's not that we keep everything separate. And I think that's it. Sometimes I think our biggest weakness is that we sit there and talk too much.
Yeah.
That can happen.
We get carried away sometimes.
Yes.
Yeah. Beautiful. That's beautiful. And I wanted to bring out it, before we took the sponsor break, as you were speaking about finding your path and giving yourself permission to pursue your creative calling, if you will, you had each other. There are a lot of us who we're just kind of flying solo on this. I am married, but my husband and I are creatively, in business together creatively. So I think a lot of people isolate themselves. And the point I'm trying to make is coming together with people that you align with in thinking, in expressing your creativity, and allowing each other to be who we are, accepting each other, I should say. And that's what the two of you are doing together, and that's what I admire. And let's just face it, I'm a little jelly. I'm a little jelly. Because you have each other to fuel off of. And as entrepreneurs, we need that. We need to have a circle of people. And I'm sure you guys have expanded your circle to include other people. I am honored to be part of the World Dom, #WorldDom strategy with you guys. Ha ha! Just had to slip that in there. And so I think we have queued up. Do we have it queued up now? We're just going to show the first little clip it. And this is a clip from the Lazy Bartender.
What do you do with my ice?
First snowman on the block this year, yeah!
I need another one of these.
I'll save you, Frosty!
That one was the snowman. Yeah. All of them are so fantastic. And those are productions that you've created yourselves?
Yep.
Yeah, completely. We wrote and filmed and edited and everything. Started.
Amazing. Okay, so we're going to wrap up for the replay viewers before we transition to our Power Vibes segment, because we have 2 songs this week from our guests as opposed to 1. So before we close out or transition to that, I like to wrap up for the replay viewers, because we don't include the music in the replay. It's just for the live viewers, so we can rock out together and get this weekend going. So what are your closing thoughts? What's on your heart to share, and how do we connect with you?
I think just go out and do it. Just execute. Don't be afraid to go out there and make a mistake.
Do not judge yourself.
Yeah. No judging. No judging.
Right. Right.
Yeah. Do not judge yourself. Mm-hmm.
I think as far as getting in touch with us, I mean, it's obviously, on social media places, we are under We Are Booze Hound. Mm-hmm. So Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and us personally, we have our own accounts.
Mm-hmm.
I'm usually like Kate Boyer on Facebook, and
I'm either I am Phil Boyer or Phil Boyer.
Yeah, I am Kate Boyer on Instagram, which I love. I do have to say I'm more of an Instagram and Twitter girl.
Yeah.
So
not so much on the Facebook side.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think just one thing we wanted to highlight was one of our biggest projects we're doing right now is for the book, the fiction book Lost Angel that I wrote is actually a series. And Isolation is book 1, that's out. Committed is written, but is in the editing stage right now, so that'll be book 2.
Okay.
And there will be a book 3, but right now we're actually doing a prequel that takes place in present time because Isolation is back in the 70s. But the prequel is present time, but at the same time we're going back to before the 70s. Mm-hmm. It's something that I wrote, and Phil's helping me put together, and he's done fantastic with that, and he has all sorts of ideas, but you're better at explaining this part. Yeah.
So what we're going to do is, instead of releasing this prequel in a book written format, we're going to release it on Instagram through pictures and videos and descriptions and all sorts of stuff. And you're going to be able to not only just watch, but you're going to be able to engage with the story as well. So this is going to be mixed media. It's going to be interactive. It's going to be a lot of fun. So you want to go to lostangelexperience.com. And this is like an exclusive announcement right now because it's not ready yet. It officially doesn't start until Halloween.
Okay.
We're going to make an announcement here in the next few days about it, but you guys can go there and you can kind of see what's going on and go check that out.
Fantastic. We'll repeat those before we close out the show. I'm excited about that exclusive announcement on CLV Live. Thank you for sharing that with us. I will be a part of that experience.
Oh, good.
So we're queuing up these power vibes, folks, and you hear it. Some of y'all are too young for this song. This is ABBA, Take a Chance on Me, and this is Kate's pick as her power vibe. Why ABBA? Why Take a Chance on Me?
You know what? I go through different phases. And when I was thinking about the music, for some reason it popped into my head, and that song specifically.
Yeah.
And then I thought, well, that's, I kind of play like I want to be a Viking, and that's just perfect. That's a perfect group, and it's a nice uplifting song. Kind of, it's easy to dance to. It gets stuck in your head all day long. So
Yes, it does, honey. My mom listened to ABBA all the time, so I am actually an ABBA fan, believe it or not.
oh, good.
Yes. Something people don't know about me, but I love this song. I think it's appropriate because I think we should be telling ourselves this. Take a chance on me, because not enough people are betting on themselves. So I love this pick. Yeah. Let's turn it up a little so we can jam out before Phil's selection. Why not? Okay, so Kate, do you play this in the solitude of your boudoir and dance around to it, or no?
I don't really. I should more often though. But like I said, I go through phases of different music, so
Yeah,
this
yeah.
is definitely a good one.
Just had to put you on the spot there. Okay, so now what Phil and I have in common is that we are both metalheads. A lot of people don't know that I am a huge rocker fan, especially from the 80s. I was a sold out rocker chick in the 80s. I was. You couldn't tell me I wasn't part of a rock band. Phil, of course, appropriately chose a song from one of their favorite bands, Grand Reserva, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's called, is it Hell and High Water?
Yep.
Oh, we gotta jam that up. Let's turn it up. This is a phenomenal band. Did you meet them through social media?
Yeah, Mike, the lead singer, is a good friend of ours, and we actually met them back in the Vibble days in our first venture into the creative world. I was doing a radio show, and I met him through that and interviewed him, and he was in a different band back then, and
Yeah, way back in the MySpace days. But he's also, the band is from Sweden, so he's in Sweden,
Yes.
so that,
more the Viking.
yes.
Very talented. I love their music. Of course, I love the guitar playing. Who plays guitar?
We've had a couple changes. I think it's Johan right now.
Okay, yeah, very talented fingers there. Yeah, great band. An appropriate choice. So do you rock out to this, Phil, in your boudoir?
I do, like Kate. I go through phases. It depends on the mood I'm in. I'll go from everything from Slayer to Iceberg to even Journey and the Blue Oyster Cult and stuff like that.
Yes.
I kind of
Across.
the gambit. So
Yeah. Are you primarily a rocker guy, or is there a genre of music that would surprise me right now that you listen to?
I don't say no to disco.
Ooh! What's your favorite disco song?
I kind of like Chic and the Village People. Yeah, I know.
Thank you for sharing
back in the
that.
70s.
Okay, so out of the blue, you'll be getting private messages from me with like videos, Village People and stuff. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. But you're primarily
Cool in the Gang too.
Cool in the Gang. Oh yeah, such a talented group. Okay. So but primarily you're a rocker guy, right?
Yeah.
I'm feeling the hair. Give me a little hair flip. Give me a little hair flip there. Woo! Yes, honey. That's what I'm talking about. Love it. Mike, am I wrapping up now? In 5 more minutes. Woohoo! Well, folks, as you can tell, we just had some crazy fun for our Power Vibes segment. You all know that I love music, and I share that passion with these two, especially Phil, because he's always sharing his favorites online. So am I. Nobody hits the like button, but I don't care. I'm going to listen to my music and share it anyway. And so if you share a passion for music just like I do, because I truly believe that music fuels and can stimulate our creative side, and that's why I listen to it so much, especially when I'm creating. So you can hop on over to Spotify. That's where the official playlist is, including the tracks you just heard. Just go to christinelbowen.com/powervibes, and you can jam and rock out with us there. It is such a cross section of music, guys. It's all the songs that have been played and selected for this season. There's hard rock, as we just heard. There's gospel and everything in between, honey. So I'm loving how this playlist is coming together. Thank you both for playing full out with me on that. Thank you so
definitely.
much. Yeah. So just to recap for you folks, this has been a phenomenal start to an ongoing discussion about creativity and how it rules in our lives, honey. There are no rules, but it rules. Because we create our own. We break the status quo rules and we create our own rules. As you heard, Phil and Kate Boyer are having a phenomenal time just living in their lane and being unapologetic about it. So if you want to connect with them and see more of their creative work, you want to go to weareboozehound.com. Such a beautiful website, by the way. Had to mention that as a graphic designer, honey. Yeah, weareboozehound.com. You can also find them on Twitter and Instagram at weareboozehound. You can connect with Phil and Kate online as well on Twitter and Instagram at I am Kate Boyer, I am Phil Boyer. All of this beautiful information will be posted on clblive.tv. Just click on the event for this show and you'll see the information there. Last but certainly not least, we have an exclusive announcement for their next project, which I'm really excited about. Congratulations, guys. The Lost Angel Experience. This is an interactive experience it's a book that you're coming out with, right?
It's a prequel.
Woo! Guys, I can't keep up with you, and that's how it should be. Keep us guessing, honey. So it is a highly interactive, engaging experience for the prequel of the Lost series, and go to lostangelexperience.com to stay abreast of all the goodies. No, thank you. Thank you so much. You know that I'm going to bronze this episode, right? I'm going to bronze this episode, and I will be in Idaho soon so that I can be a part of that picture you have behind you there.
Oh, nice.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so we can get drunk and rock out together.
There you go. There you
It
go.
doesn't sound like a bad idea.
No,
It doesn't. No, it doesn't. And I mean that. And of course, you all can always come over to DC because that's part of the World Dom plan too. We have so many plans behind the scenes, guys. You just have to keep connected so you can see what happens as we unfold it, okay? For me, my closing thoughts are, as I said in the beginning, creativity is not just in some of us, it is in all of us. We just have different ways of expressing it. So how Phil and Kate express it will be different from how I express it, will be different from how you express it. However, I do hope that this conversation has sparked something within you to explore it a little further because yes, you can create your reality. And I'm going to invite you to connect with me as part of the movement that I guess I'm officially launching today. Another exclusive on CLB Live. Join me at createlivebe.com. This is where we are elevating our consciousness of creative flow so that we can live life at its highest potential. My closing song for today. Phil, you've had me listen to rock all week, and I chose one of my favorites, Steven Tyler, of course, from Aerosmith, and it is a piano rendition featuring Slash, the guitarist, woohoo, featuring Slash, and it is a rendition of Dream On, because we have to keep dreaming, and we have to keep pushing for our reality and our dreams to come true. Mwah! Next week, join me, same time, same place. I believe in the studio for the first time. We'll be meeting in person one of my dearest divine connections, Dr. Manny St. Victor, and we'll be talking about Mindset Matters. And you'll get to see us geeking out because we'll be meeting for the first time. You don't want to miss it. Until then, have a great weekend. Bye, Phil and Kate. Love you both.
Bye.
Thank you guys. Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Time that I look in the mirror, all these lines on my face getting clearer. The past is gone, even when night like dusty dawn isn't ever way. Everybody got the dues and I the pay. Come on! Yeah, I know nobody knows where it comes and where it goes. I know it's everybody's sin. You got to lose to know. I don't have my lives in books, written pages, living, learning from fools and from sages.